Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Learn With Me. This is another episode with 10 new characters in Chinese. Let's get started. Before we start, I would thank everybody who are liking my videos or viewing my videos. It really encourages me a lot. If you are a new viewer watching my channel, please subscribe. So whenever I upload a new video, you will get the notification. Let's get started with our today's new characters. I'm so excited to learn those along with you guys. So our first word here we are going to learn is Tao. How do you say it? Is Tao. Tao means lid. Tao is in Chinese and lid is the meaning of the Chinese word or character. So Tao is written is this way. The very easy way to remember this is if you imagine a lid and a handle to it. This is quite close to that lid and the handle. That's why I think we need to use that as a memory tip to remember. Let's say it again. Tao, lid. Tao, lid. Great, perfect. You're getting the hang of it. Let's get to the next word of this episode. So the next word that we are looking here is yen. Yen is usually used for surnames. It also has another meaning to it, which is speech or words. So the way to write this character is this way. You have 3 bars and you also have Tao in this along with Kao. If you have seen my previous episode, you would know Kao is nothing but mouth. So it really doesn't take much effort for us to learn these characters as long as we know a good trick to remember them. Like I said, I even could remember one of the words from the previous episode. So how do I try to memorize this? I found a easy way to memorize this is speech or words. You can look at this microphone, person speaking into the microphone, and you can have the sound vibrations over here, which is quite similar to the sleeping bars over here. That way it makes more sense to at least recall the half of its character. And the other part of it, which is at the bottom, we already know it is nothing but Kao, which is moth. And this is the picture from the previous episode, if you are well aware of. So I would suggest you guys to go through this, review my episodes, as well as like them, share them, and subscribe them. They are very intuitive, very friendly, and fun to learn new language if you are very serious about. So let's say this again. Yen, which is surname or speech or words. Yen is written this way. I also added the way to spell this or pronounce it, which is yen. That's all about this character, which is yen. Let's get to the next character of our episode. The next character of our episode is Do. So Do is a small-tailed bird. All those small-tailed birds are classified into Do, and Do can be spoken as Zhui. So if you look at Zhui, you would probably say Zhui, but in fact the way to pronounce it is Chui. So that is the reason why I added here the Chinese pronunciation, which is Chui. So when you read this, instead of stressing too much on Z, stress too much on Ch. So Chui, just say Chui. And how to remember this? I looked at this word, and based on this, you can see there is a side man. If this partial character is a sideman. Usually it is a partial character. It's not a full character, but it's being used into some meaningful characters. So this representation of standing bar and a crossbar, you can think about the head and the body and head of the bird itself. It's not so intuitive, but it is kind of close enough. And then the other parts of the character, if you look at, there are so many bars and it literally looks like a twig. So I think by remembering the bird and the twig, you can correlate it to do, which is nothing but shuí. Okay, let's spell it again. Do. Do is spoken as shuí. Do is spoken as shuí. Good. You're already doing very good with so far my Chinese character. Let's get to the next character. So this is our next character that we are going to look at. The character is shéi. So you can also write this in two different ways. It has multiple meanings. It is related to who or whom. It is sometimes also written as a shuí, but all the way it's spoken as shéi. So the only thing you need to remember is shéi for remembering who or whom. And now if you closely look at these two, in the first representation of the character Chinese itself, you can see it combines two characters which we just learned. So let's recall one of the character which we just learned is this yan, and the other character which we just learned is do, which is shuí. So when you combine yan with shuí, you're getting shéi. It's not quite intuitive, but the way to remember this, I figured, is best with the gate. So when there is anybody stranger in front of the gate, you obviously won't open the door or gate immediately, because you would like to ask who he is or whom you want to meet and why you're coming in, right? So that's an intuitive way why I think relating it with the gate and the entryway, which is closed but not open, of course, not like here. So if it is close enough, that way you can correlate this shuí, a partial word of the whole character, partial character of the whole character, is can be related to do, or it can be related to who or whom. So of course do is not the only thing, because we have an additional character involved in this, so you can intuitively go with shui or whom. Another way or approach I figured is much useful here is if you think if you think carefully, there is a word which is yen here. So yen is also meaning speech or words. So if you correlate with somebody standing at the door or a gate and trying to speak to you, and they are not entering, of course, so that is more like the complete word or context that we are looking at here, which is who or whom. So you can still make sure don't confuse with a do, but you know that it is some other character in Chinese that you need to recognize. Well, that's a little bit a long story for this shay, but it's quite easy to remember. It just needs a little bit trick. And the other way to write this is in simplified version, you just put I here. So for me, I think by putting an I here, it's like I question mark. I'm looking for something. So I just try to think about that way. But even though this is not so close enough, if you remember either of them, whichever is comfortable for you, that still works in this vocabulary. So let's go for the next word. So the next one we are learning here is shou. Shou is spoken as S and how. If you combine these two together, shou. Right? Let's tell it one more time. It's shou. And how do we write it? In order to write this, what we have to do is think about a huge standing line and with so many horizontal lines. So in a way to remember this, what I came up with, if you think about a hand pointing like this as a cursor, whenever you think about a cursor pointing at some link or things like that, you can see there is a thumb and there is a pointed big finger and followed by a small folded finger. So the folded fingers doesn't really matter, but at least it is close enough to make sure you understand this is similar to hand. And I feel this is much a better way to learn this character. And hand is nothing but shou, and it's written in Chinese like this, and it's related to hand. It's spoken as shou. Great. Let's get with our next character here. I'm so excited, guys. This has been very, very interesting journey for me. I don't know how do you guys feel about it. Definitely put your interests or your comments in my comments box below. It will really, really help me to maybe modify. Make sure you guys enjoy these episodes a lot like me. Okay, now that we are getting into a few more words, let's see what we have here. This is dart. So dart, I've looked about this dart, but dart doesn't seem to be a so intuitive word that we use in English, but it is not related to some kind of arrow and bow. So the reason why I put dart here is a dart is treated as some kind of arrow-like weapon. In Chinese, in a very traditional Chinese, very olden days ago, not right now. I don't know how much they are using right now, but we still have this word in Chinese, and it's spoken as yi in Chinese. So you just say yi is nothing but this word. If you just say yi, that means you learn this dart, which is weapon, and its representation is like here. So how do I remember yi? A very simple character, yi, in Chinese. So in written Chinese, this is how it's written. How can we remember this? So when you look at, forget about the string, it's very light, you cannot focus on it. But if you carefully look at the bow and the arrow, you can only look at the outer edge of the bow, the traditional bow, and then there is an arrow shooting through it. So if you relate that to this one, you can definitely make sure correlate both of them, and you can remember this E is nothing but a weapon-like structure, which is, sorry guys, which is bow. I hope you guys liked my vocabulary very, very much, the intuitive ways to remember these. Definitely like my videos, share them and subscribe them so you will be looking forward to or tuning to my channel every time, every week about this time or during Saturdays at the max. Definitely, guys. Let's go to the next word. The next word we are looking at here is ge. So ge is written in Chinese as this way. Is nothing but lance. This is also a very old and weapon-like structure, and when we look carefully about this lance, there are some scripts related to the resemblance of lance, which is this form of weapon. So you can think about early man time or very ancient, our ancestors being who are hunters and gatherers trying to use a weapon like that. Now, how do I relate this to remembering ge? Quite simple. Let's look at the format of that. So we know there is a whole vertical rod which consists of 2 bars on it. So what I came about with is, I think when you look at this, it already has some kind of arrow-like structure, and then you have another bar here which is similar to this weapon here. That's how I would remember ge. And the ge is spoken as ge as in game. I would like to definitely stress on this. That's the reason why I made it a comment here, that it's spoken as ge as in game. So let's look at our next character. The next character we are observing here is wo. The way to spell this or speak this is wo. So it's as if you say o, but you go down and up on the o, which is wo. But when you just speak through, you don't need to stress a lot. You just say wo. Wo. That's how Chinese quickly say it. But you just need to, as a beginner, you just need to learn the way or the differences between how you speak for a different wo. That's the reason why I would like to teach you even that. So wo is having multiple meaning as well. So wo, you can use it for I, me, myself, all these similar things. And the other way to remember, the reason why I didn't put anything here is wo, I think, is very common and it's easier to remember in any language. Some main pronouns and nouns, pronouns at least, are very easy to remember. That's one reason why I didn't put anything here. The only thing I would like to put here is how this character is formed. So this character is a combination of 2 characters, as you can see already. So we discussed in today's episode 2 things. One is shou and the other is ge. So when we combine both of them together, then we get wo. So that is the idea behind not putting any image or remembering image here. But if you really think that you would like this, have some kind of image, put in my comments box. I will definitely add in the upcoming videos, come up with some kind of idea to discuss with you guys. So we're almost through. Let's look at our last words. This is spoken as men. It's a similar way of pronunciation as the English men, but it has different meaning to it. So the meaning here is door or gate or entrance. So this door, gate or entrance is resembled here. So this is quite intuitive, so it's not very complicated to understand. It's very easy. When you see these two characters written side by side facing each other, you can clearly relate this to the door of your house. If you have two doors, that's a great thing, but if you don't, you can think about big church having multiple doors, so that is still okay. And that's the reason why I have picture or image here which resembles this one. And remember that when you're learning this, be careful that this particular Mén-Door has a different way of written Chinese. So this is another way how it's represented in Chinese, but both characters have Men, which is one way of typically calling it or speaking it out loud. So let's go to our final character of this episode. I'm so excited, guys. So the final word that we are looking at here is also man. I would like to show you guys this is also man. No different, the speaking way no different than what we just saw from the doorway or entrance. The only difference is it is a pronoun. It's used for pronouns or for nouns or refers to many. So the reason why I would like to show this to you guys is since we are learning our doorway or entrance, if we also learn something related to the root, it will help us remember those much easier way. So the way I would remember this is this one is already side man. So if you have looked at my very beginning episodes, I have discussed about sideman and sideman actually in that case. But when we say sideman and there's sideman and man, and you're calling about, I'm basically including too many people. So sideman and man, and there's no difference between man and sideman in English, but I don't know what I'm talking about here, but it's a little confusing. But anyways, if you just prolongate man and then add man, then you have many man, which is nothing but men. This man here. So that's how I will remember all this vocabulary which we learned today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed my episode for today. That's all I have for today's episode. Let's look at my thank you slide again. Shéi, thank you so much for watching my channel. Your comments and suggestions are very important and fruitful for our channel. So please subscribe, hit the bell icon so you will get notification immediately I upload the video. And thank you so much for watching my channel. Until next time, see you again, guys. Take care.